the power of a universal ideal. How the words of one man can change the course of history and affect the destiny of nations and peoples. The story begins in 1990 when true parents, Dr. and Mrs. Sun Myung Moon, traveled to Moscow to participate in a global conference of world leaders. During a private meeting with President Mikhail Gorbachev, Dr. Moon pledges his support for the spiritual renewal of the Soviet Union. As a first step, Soviet professors and students were invited to programs in the United States beginning in July 1990. During the week-long tour, participants attended lectures outlining the unification principle and visited famous and historic sites. By August 1991, 3,000 graduates had returned to the Soviet Union filled with hope for the future. These hopes were almost shattered when anti-reform hardliners attempted to overthrow President Gorbachev. For 3 days in August 1991, the entire world watched anxiously as the people of the Soviet Union faced their biggest test since the beginning of perestroika. Many of the young people manning the barricades were students who had graduated from the U.S. programs. The student sincerity even helped to turn Soviet soldiers into allies in their fight for freedom. Later, the Soviet Vice Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Marat Guriev, commented,
"Filled with a burning desire for freedom, these young people took the lead in defending our country."
As the Soviet Union disintegrated, tens of thousands of students, educators, and social leaders attended numerous unification principle seminars at dozens of locations throughout the Soviet republics. They were inspired by a message of hope based on spiritual ideals. With these events as a background, over 7,500 people welcomed Mrs. Hak Jahan Moon during her speech in the Moscow Kremlin.
I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to you for welcoming me to your beautiful country.
In 1992, with the support of the Russian Ministry of Education, 1,600 educators attended a program in the Crimea entitled Spiritual Renewal and School Education in Russia. It was sponsored by the International Educational Foundation, IEF, an organization founded by Dr. Moon to promote the teaching of spiritual and moral values. IEF systematized the major concepts of unification principle into several books for use as school curriculum materials.
In the philosophy of the unification movement, I found a lot of ideas that I worked on as a teacher and as a specialist in the theory of education.
My World and I, The Way to Unification, and an accompanying teacher's guidebook was first published in 1993. In 1994, a second book, My World and I, The Way to Love, was published and accompanied by a parent's handbook. 1997 saw the publication of First Peak, The Way of Action, and a two-part volume called I and the World of People appeared in 1998. In 1999, IEF unveiled its most recent publication entitled Love, Life, and Family. These materials were reviewed by leading Russian pedagogues. Dr. R.G. Aprisian of the Russian Academy of Science observed,
"In a truly holistic way, My World and I introduces the reader to the world of fundamental moral and spiritual values. This may be the first publication of its kind in the Russian language."
School teachers also expressed their appreciation for the new approach. Svetlana Smirnova, a teacher from the city of St. Petersburg, commented,
"This course is an amazing discovery for everybody, teachers, parents, and even grandparents. It is as important for our children as the air itself."
Several of the books have been translated into other languages, including Mongolian, Azeri, Tajik, and Kyrgyz. In the mid-1990s, the course was introduced in Mongolia with the publication of My World and I. The Ministry of Education of Mongolia actively supports the use of these curricula as part of a national educational initiative. Since IEF's inception in 1990, over 10,000 schools in the former Soviet Union use its curriculum materials. This foundation in the former Soviet Union and Mongolia laid the groundwork for the next phase of Dr. Moon's work, the People's Republic of China. As China emerges into an era of material prosperity, it faces the twin challenges of preserving traditional values while modernizing its economy. To achieve balance, the Chinese have been pursuing an enlightened program known as the Policy of Spiritual Civilization. From late 1994 until May 2000, IEF has held 115 conferences covering every province of China, from the Manchurian city of Harbin in the north to the Hainan island city of Sanya in the south, and from the coastal city of Shanghai in the east to the Himalayan city of Lhasa, Tibet in the west. Chinese audiences have been attracted to Dr. Moon's comprehensive concept of universal values. Based on true love, it promotes the integration of the spiritual and material, Eastern and Western philosophy, and traditional and contemporary values. 12 lectures are presented during a 2- or 3-day program covering the major topics of character education, youth pure love education, and true love and family life education. At the conclusion of each seminar, all participants receive a certificate of achievement acknowledging their participation. As a foreign-based organization with a values-based message, IEF has been granted the unprecedented privilege of traveling throughout China. The work of IEF began with educators, including seminars for hundreds of school principals in Beijing and Shanghai.
We can learn much from the International Educational Foundation through their very comprehensive approach to character education. The IEF ideas are very close to the best values of Chinese culture.
Lecture presentations are published in books presented to all participants. The National Health Education Institute distributed the presentations through its annual publication. The Chinese Ministry of Education has invited IEF to hold a conference with its textbook writers in charge of preparing the next generation of China's moral education textbooks. These books will reach 250 million students. Mr. Zhan Wanshang of the Central Education Research Institute in Beijing.
IEF's values are very much in line with the goals of Chinese character education programs. We are therefore honored to work together with IEF and have been deeply impressed with their accomplishments within the short span of 5 years.
Writers in the independent Shanghai school system have published Youth Pledge, a series of 3 books in collaboration with IEF. Professor Zhang Zhegang is the director of the Student Affairs Department from the Shanghai City Education.
In a survey made in 1992, only 66% of high school students supported the principle of abstinence before marriage. However, in a similar survey in 1999, the percentage who supported the abstinence principle had increased to 89.8%. I believe the Pure Love and Abstinence program promoted by IEF played a major role in changing the students' attitudes.
Beijing Capital Normal University published a book entitled Youth, Character, and Sexual Health Education, containing student reflections on IEF lectures. Pure Love and Happy Family was published as a follow-up book from students who attended IEF programs. As a result of a joint conference, the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, one of China's most influential academic organizations, published a 2-volume book containing 14 IEF presentations entitled Family Ethics and Character Education. More than 20 national organizations representing a wide spectrum of Chinese society have co-sponsored IEF activities, including China People's Friendship Association, the All China Women's Federation, Central State Ministry Women's Affairs Commission, the China Democratic League, Chinese Education Association for International Exchange, China Society for Juvenile Delinquency Research, and People's Cultural Promotion Association of China. In order to coordinate its activity in China, IEF established a cooperative training center together with the National Health Education Institute in Beijing. Mr. Wu Xuping is the vice chairman of the China Democratic League.
I greatly appreciate this undertaking initiated by IEF's founder, Dr. Sung Myung Moon. Dr. Moon is a great man of virtue. He has committed his heart and soul without reservation to the realization of a spiritual civilization throughout the world. This activity will benefit mankind for generations to come. I want to wish Dr. and Mrs. Moon a long life and good health.
Several programs have been held for members of the judiciary, including one in the United States. High Court judges and lawyers attended a conference at Bridgeport University, followed by a visit to the U.S. Supreme Court and Senate. Youth conferences in the cities of Shenzhen and Chongqing attracted communist youth leaders and juvenile justice officials. Police cadets in the city of Hongqiao welcomed IEF to their academy. And in Changsha City, near the birthplace of Mao Zedong, hundreds of police cadets responded enthusiastically to the program. In an effort to reach out to young people who've had problems with the law, IEF organized several events for prison directors and staff.
我要代表国际在基金会创始人文春明博士夫妇向各位问候。
In the city of Tianjin, over 100 juvenile prisoners listened attentively to the presentations. At the end of the program, the inmates signed and recited the IEF Pure Love Pledge. Activities to promote values education among students have been held in major universities, including the Ministry of Civil Affairs University, Beijing University, Tsinghua University, the University of Politics and Law, Beijing National Teachers University, Union Medical College, and Beijing Capital Teachers University, as well as numerous other universities throughout China. After hearing lecture presentations, the students sign a pledge and receive a wallet-sized card to carry with them as a reminder of their commitment to a pure and healthy lifestyle. They also receive a booklet entitled Love and Friendship in the Age of AIDS. In establishing its first experimental school in China, IEF gives special attention to the needs of young people in the Beijing Reform School. Mr. Zhan Liqun is a former leader of the China Communist Youth League and was a close associate of the former Premier Zhou Enlai.
We are happy to work together with IEF because your education in morals and ethics has great significance for our country. Our juvenile population is 400 million, and how we educate them will affect not only our country, but will even influence the world.
Through radio, television, newspaper, and magazine articles, tens of millions of Chinese people have been introduced to the activities of the International Educational Foundation. China has a long and beautiful tradition of family ethics, and Chinese people are renowned for their stable families. It is therefore no surprise that one of the most inspiring programs initiated by Dr. Moon is the True Love Marriage and Family Blessing Festival. At numerous locations throughout China, couples participate in a 2-day seminar followed by a marriage blessing ceremony. Couples make a solemn pledge of rededication. All age groups and walks of life are represented. The beauty and sacredness of this ceremony is a moving experience for many of the participating couples, most of whom experienced only a legal marriage. One couple that had overcome tremendous hardship in their lives gave a moving testimony. They tearfully shared a beautiful moment of rededication to a renewed life together. The blessing ceremonies reflect the character of the local provinces and ethnic communities, such as the Korean autonomous province of Yanbian on the North Korean border. In May 1999, on the 5th anniversary of IEF's work in China, Mrs. Hak Shahan Moon spoke at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. She shared with an audience of Chinese leaders a vision for world peace based on true family values. Looking toward the future, IEF pays special attention to the younger generation. Pure Love abstinence campaigns have been initiated in universities and high schools throughout China. In Shanghai, more than 1,000 students from 80 schools commit themselves to the highest standard of purity and public service. Their devotion ensures that the ideal will go on.
Are becoming tiny example for young people entire world to really spread this message of pure commitment.